La ciudad
Sí, claro. Sí, claro. Y ya me espero que todo lo que encontramos acá y lo mandan a que parte de eso. Sí, sí,
Pues para una máquina
Yo a veces les digo que viajar, que eso está incluyendo de la Biblia atrás. ¿A qué se les está?
Sí. O hacer asesoramiento diario. Sí,
es abogado. Creo que organizar los contratos, los patentos, todo, y es como esa empresa acá, pues bueno, Starbucks, la empresa que tiene los Starbucks, los patentos, ese negocio me pareció particular. Pero el nombre simplemente les abre y no pueden moverse sin firmando el asunto. Ni siquiera representando la marca sin inventarlo ni nada. Porque yo sé cómo es esta ciudad, más
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo superar un poco el quiz? Buenas tardes. Bienvenidos a Colombia 2. Estamos muy contentos esta tarde de tener un invitado muy importante. Vamos a tener a David González en un minuto explicándoles un poco más sobre la importancia de la biografía de nuestro invitado. Tenemos unas indicaciones técnicas que dar previo al inicio de nuestra charla el día de hoy, de cara a que tenemos invitados medios de comunicación y emprendedores y startups del Ministerio y de otras instituciones. Pues, la primera indicación sería, de acuerdo a la parte técnica que tenemos aquí con el equipo de traducción, el tenerlo a la mano si necesitan obviamente ese servicio. Los que no tienen el servicio lo pueden acceder ahora aquí a mi mano derecha. Segundo, pedirles que apaguen su celular, es indispensable si suena gangoso, ¿verdad? ¿Puedes bajar un poco el volumen de eso? Sí, ahí un poco más. Gracias. Apagar su celular pues interfiere con el funcionamiento de los equipos de traducción. Vamos a tener una charla, ya David nos va a explicar un poco más abierta y menos estructurada de lo que estamos acostumbrados, y para eso es indispensable que les vamos a estar pasando este micrófono a que hablen. Vamos a tener una charla poco estructurada. La charla poco estructurada quiere decir que vamos a tener espacio para preguntas. Esas preguntas van a estar formuladas si quieren con micrófono, si esto no empieza a funcionar. Y si no, hablen un poco más de espacio para que podamos hacer el servicio de traducción también del español al inglés. Así que le doy la bienvenida a David González, quien va a hacer la presentación oficial de nuestro invitado. Bienvenido.
Buenas tardes a todos, gracias por venir. No les voy a hacer perder tiempo escuchándome a mí, que el invitado hoy es Bradford. Para los que no lo conocen, él es uno de los fundadores de Parte, una compañía que alcanzó una valoración de $1.000 millones en un tiempo récord de 2 años, pero también en un tiempo récord se desvalorizó y nuevamente está arrancando con un emprendimiento desde ceros. Así que démosle la bienvenida a Bradford. Primero que todo vamos a hacer, de repente, como para relajar el ambiente, algunas interacciones con ustedes. Si tienen preguntas, pueden hablar con él y después va a hacer una charla sobre sus emprendimientos. Bradford,
Do I need? Oh, I might. Okay. Hold on, please. I'm going to give you some visuals. This one?
Yeah.
It will be good? Okay. Uh-oh, there's no... Oh, there it is. Let's see. Okay. Un momento, por favor. ¿Es correcto? Oh. My Spanish is so bad. I can order food though. God, I don't know how this keyboard works. Where's the @ symbol?
It's when you
Oh, thank you. Okay.
No. Through.
I hope that works. Okay. I don't know what that says. It's okay? No, I want to say nunca. Nunca para quien en sitio web. Okay. Hi everybody, how are you? Are you going to be interactive and talk to me, or are you going to be quiet? Because I'm really bad at giving speeches, and I don't have a deck, and I don't have anything to prepare, and I just like to talk. So, by a show of hands, can you say, like, can we just like do question and answers, and I'll talk about lots of things, because that means you have to give it to me, or I can sit up here and act like I was an asshole. Like, can I say asshole? Asshole. Sorry. So what do you want to do? 1 or 2? 1. Okay. You want to go first?
Okay.
What do you want to know about? Top.
I want to know.
Wait, first, before you start, I play a game. You have to say who you are, And if you're an entrepreneur, you have to tell me what you're doing. And then you have to tell me what your spirit animal is.
Okay.
Okay?
My name is Mariana, and I'm
Oh. Who is? I know, but I want to play. Who here is over? Can you hear me? Yeah. Who here is over? Who here is as old as me? 35 plus. There's like 2 people. I grew up with like Oprah Winfrey and Phil Donahue show where like, oh, Christina, and like, what do you think she goes for? Like that. Like, this is what I like. Okay, so sorry.
So my name is Mariana. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a fashion brand
Awesome.
for girls, and its name is Little Ramonas. And we tried selling online as well. And I want to know about your experience and how did your company, like they said just right now, you were like the word. It was valued very high, very fast, and then it was down. Yeah, I want to know about the not.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, I guess maybe it's a good question. What's your spirit animal first? Because that's the most important.
My spirit animal.
And then if I don't agree with you, I'll tell you what I really think.
Okay. Maybe goat. That's what I
Okay. If you self-identify as a goat,
yeah.
I think that like, so I'm an entrepreneur and I fell into entrepreneurship. I didn't grow up dreaming about it or being it, and I did it much later in life. So I think I have to start there before I talk about the fall. Because like I never went like growing up saying I'm going to start a company. There were moments of my life where I remember saying I want to do this and I want to do that, and I even went to grad school when I was 30 years old to study fashion design at Parsons because I thought I wanted to be a fashion designer. And then when I actually started sewing, I was like, this is the most awful thing in the whole world. Who would ever want to sew their whole life? This is awful. Like, that's a crappy job. And it pays nothing in New York City. And so I got lucky. You know, a friend of mine called me up and said, do you want to start a company? We started this company and it was really bad. And it was called Fabulous. And it was spelled wrong. And it was just stupid. And it was a gay social network. So like if I was a gay person and I was coming to Bogota, and I didn't, this was before Instagram, you know, it was before really people, it was only 6 years ago, but a very different time. And like, he's like, wouldn't it be cool if we had this company where like, you could find out like where the safe restaurants, where are the neighborhoods you can go to, all of this. And I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. It didn't work. We had $1 million in the bank. Most entrepreneurs would kill for $1 million. Jason turned to me and said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to start a store. Because when I originally wanted to be a fashion designer, the dream in my head was to have this store, which I would be sitting there sewing and have like a little rack of clothing. But all over here would be all the other things I just found. Because I'm a collector. I collect posters, I collect toys, I collect books, I collect shoes. I have probably 400 pairs. I just bought 4 pairs of sunglasses just now. I probably have 100 pairs of sunglasses. So I'm obsessive shopper. And so I always dressed at this little store and I said, why don't we make this store that I always dreamed? Because e-commerce sucks. E-commerce sucks if you want to buy something like this or like shoes. No, that's not true. Shoes is fine. But like, you know, e-commerce is great for toilet paper, it's great for food, it's great for bottled water, it's great for commodity products. It's shitty for meaningful things, gifts, home, furniture, art, things that express who you are. And all my friends are creators and designers. And the economy crashed in the United States. It was 2009, 2010. No one could sell anything. And yet technology made it much easier for people to make things. So now, like, you can make a little capsule clothing collection for little to no money. You can make jewelry. You can 3D print things. You can laser cut things. And because people weren't working as much, you had more time to make things. And so it's just this perfect marriage of lots of people making things, more people wanting special and unique things, and everybody else just really sucking online, in my eyes. And additionally, the best stores in the world are the ones where a merchant, a curator, chooses the brands, the fixtures, the window, dresses the windows, and they entice you to walk in. That doesn't happen online. And so the hunch was, can you layer on the top of the curation one person's point of view? Amazon doesn't need a point of view because Amazon sells everything, you know? But if you're going to be a boutique, if you're going to be the place where someone says, I'm going to go there and buy my girlfriend this as a gift, or I'm going to buy something to put in my bedroom, to hang on my wall, it can't be Amazon. That would feel gross to buy that from Amazon. And so we did it. Like, we took off and we sold $120 million in products in 1 year, in our first year. We sold $20 million, $1 billion in the first 20 days. The rest is history. It was like a storybook.
Why do you think it was successful in 20 days, 1 year? Three.
There are a couple of reasons. One is I have confidence that what we created was really beautiful. And so
it's beauty.
It's beauty, it's aesthetics, it's products that people hadn't seen before. It was presenting design in a way that was accessible and not elitist. It was never like, this is what my problem with fashion is. I know better than, editors of magazines, fashion people. I don't like that. Design is supposed to be for everybody. And so it was this optimistic point of view, I think. That's what I like to say. The real reason, we spent $500 million on advertising. The marriage, it was a marriage of two things, but prior to our launch, this is what we did. It was very easy. We said, we're turning the gay site off. We're launching the new site in 3 months. Bradford went and found all those products. Jason spent that was my co-founder, spent $500,000 on Facebook advertisements. So we launched on day 1 with 160, it was a gamble, because if no one bought anything, we were screwed. We would have been out of money. So we did $65,000 our first day and $1 million our first 20 days. And on that 20th day, we were about to run out of money. We had zero money in the bank.
Did you buy any of the inventory, or you were just happy to put it up?
No, first, Who are you?
My name is Martin. Okay. I'm now an entrepreneur.
Okay.
My animal is the dolphin.
Smart, very smart. Okay, what did you finish with?
Did you buy any of the inventory, or you were just connecting the warehouse?
So I have a new company. It's called Design. I don't need that. It launched 4 weeks ago. We have 40,000 people on our email list. We haven't spent a dime, zero. So yeah, all PR, all word of mouth. This business is very similar to my previous business in terms of aesthetics and the point of view. It's completely different operationally and the way we spend money. And so this business is no inventory. And I never want to take inventory in the whole world because you know why you don't have to. And if you only do that for a business that's focused on discovery, and that's what I'm trying to do, inventory is the enemy because you can ship it to people fast, it's great. And if your business is going to be speed, good luck. I don't want to play in that space. But if your business is going to be taste and curation and every day showing somebody something different, inventory is your worst nightmare. You know why? Because once you buy it, you have to sell it, and if it doesn't sell, you have to keep shoving it down people's throats until they freaking buy it. And so, fast, early days, we bought that inventory. And it's a great thing. You know why? And here's why the categories of fab and the categories of desire are very similar. Furniture and home, jewelry, art. Those are really the main categories. It's not fashion. So these are products that, in the United States at least, the industry standard for many of them is the drop ship model, which is, I don't know if you know what that means, but it means You are a customer, you buy from me in the store, I issue a purchase order for what you bought, you're the manufacturer, you ship it directly to her on my shipping account, branded in with my packaging, with my stuff, but it's just this cyclical. And so you don't have to really take inventory for those categories. Fashion, you have to. So fashion is like, you know, you put up a collection, it's going to be gone, and there's fierce competition to buy stuff. And then what's left, but for things that when someone makes a chair, they hope they make it for longer than the 6-month season. You know, when you make a chair, I hope it lasts for decades. And so it's a different beast, but no inventory. My big advice, if you're in e-commerce, no inventory. It's the done. Questions? I can keep talking. Come on. Keep talking? Okay. I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, in 1970. He mentioned my failure at the beginning. I think it's interesting to talk about failure. I've been on magazine covers. I had dinner with Pharrell Williams. Pharrell Williams told me, "Oh, you're the new Pee Wee Herman." And you know what? A year later, Pharrell Williams wouldn't take my phone call. So, you know, the last year has been like a wild ride for me in the sense that, like, even when you're on top, you're not on top. And tell me about this. I'm just talking about nothing here. But I went on a wild ride this last year as an entrepreneur because I had to recommit to being an entrepreneur. As I said, fell into it the first time. I had no intention of doing it. Struck gold. It was amazing. And then it went away. And a year ago, maybe 14 months ago, I got on an airplane, I went to Rio. For 10 days, I just sat on the beach every single day. I ate chicken at the same restaurant every day. I woke up, I read a book every other day. And I just sat there and what am I going to do with my life? And I kept, this theme kept happening to me, and it was like, put on this earth to do something. And what is that one thing? And at 37, I finally realized it. Like, it was to connect people who make things with people who want to buy things. And I had always been searching my whole life for, like, what was my mission? And it was this moment of clarity. And it was the first time I think I ever thought of myself as an entrepreneur. Before that, I thought of myself as a designer. I didn't really think of myself as an entrepreneur, as a risk taker. I just thought that I had a great job. I saw the world, it was awesome. And when you're an entrepreneur, and when that aha moment happens where you're like, this is what I was put on earth to do, it is magical in the sense that I figured it out. I'm not going to be like my mother who hates her job. I'm going to be like, it's the scariest thing in the world too, because if you screw it up, what are you going to do? And so I sat there and I'm like, am I just going to go work for someone else and make a lot of money and live a nice life, or am I going to try to risk this again? Because when you go on top and then you fall off and you do it again, you're the guy who fails twice. You want to be that guy. And so, so it led to this very organic thing. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is that when creating a company, I think it doesn't happen like this. It's a slow, steady process. And for me, the last year, I'll talk through kind of what happened. It started with me being depressed on the beach, drinking a lot of and then it led to me like really starting to be smart about it. I got home, I went to New York, and I started working for some other people. I became a consultant, and it was exciting and invigorating because I got to go into other people's companies and tell them what was wrong with it, and then I didn't have to fix it. Just let go of it. But there's something great about being a consultant because it's like I think it's an easy job to tell other people what they're doing wrong without doing any of the hard work. But for me, it was ultimately not satisfying. And so I realized I had to start another company. So the first thing I did was this. I said, what is the company going to be? And for me, other people say other things, but I don't think a company is going to exist. I don't think a startup is going to be successful unless you are solving a problem. Like, and what? And not even solving a problem. I would say, unless you're going to move the world forward. And this is where you have to kind of disconnect yourself. Not everyone's going to cure cancer. We're not all put on earth to, save the world. But can what you do something good in the world? Like I wanted to make sure whatever I did something good. And so I saw this opportunity to make people feel good and to keep small businesses up and running. So that was my opportunity. And so then what I did was I gathered 4 people who I trust. A creative, an operations guy, a finance guy, and a communications person. They also happened before my investments, 2 of which were for me. And we went to my little weekend house, which is selling. It's very sad. I won't have it next month. But I have this little house. Do you know Pee Wee Herman? It's just like Pee Wee's Playhouse. Actually, I'm going to show you my house. Tell me if this is boring or not. Is it boring, you guys? Okay. This is my house. So we went there, which is up north of Manhattan, about 2-hour drive. Really depressed. So in New York, you have Manhattan, and then which is this thing that's this big, and you have Brooklyn and Queens and the Bronx and Staten Island, all of that's sharps. And then you have the rest of New York, and this is a thriving metropolis, and this is a depressed, sad place where industry used to exist, and now it's just boarded up homes and really cheap real estate. So you have people like me who live in the city who are like, can't afford to buy a house in the city, so we go buy a cheap house upstate and turn it into this, but I'm selling it, so it's going to be. So we went up here, and I said, if you can't dream of a company in that room, then something's wrong. And so I invited all those 4 and their partners. Some are married, so their wives came. Some are dating people, so their gay lovers came. And I cooked food all weekend. I gave them tons of wine, and I said, we could create a company. This is the vision. So the vision is mine. No one's influencing it. The vision is we are going to empower what I call creative entrepreneurs, designers, because designers are entrepreneurs too. We're going to empower people who make posters, who make jewelry, who make handbags, who make furniture. We're going to empower them and put their stuff in front of people who live their lives on Instagram, pin all the time, who don't want Abercrombie & Fitch, who don't want IKEA, who don't want to walk into the house and it looks like everybody else's house. There are people who want to be like different and unique. How do you bring them together? And that's where it was born, this new company. It was born in that room over about 3 different weekends. And that was it. We came up with a name. I put together a deck. I said it's a big opportunity. There's a big market. I didn't build a thing. I was lucky because I had the previous experience. And then I went out and met with investors. Because they all wanted to meet with me. Because they all wanted to ask about how did you have a company valued at $1 billion that's now valued at nothing? And so everyone took my call, whether they were interested in investing or not. They all wanted to meet. And what happened was, everyone said, "You're just doing fab again." And I was like a punch in the gut. And I was like, no, I don't want to cuss. There's a conference. I want to say that a lot. I said, no, I was fab before fab was fab. It was me. This is me. That's the website is just whatever. And so there was this part of it where I had to take ownership of my failure. And I had to say, the reason why we failed, there were many. It's not even failed. Jason still has the company. It's still good. I hope he makes a lot of money. I hope he makes me a lot of money. But the reason why it was once valued here and was here was there's a lot of reasons. In your case, I can talk about it all day. But at its core, the thing that didn't fail was the point of view and the optimism of the brand. And so I don't know, I'm talking too much now. Can someone ask me a question? Come on. Okay, please. Are you an entrepreneur?
No.
Okay, what are you?
I'm a buyer for
Okay. Fashion?
design.
Okay. You want to sell these? Oh, you're a buyer.
I'm a buyer,
Okay.
but I can help you.
Okay, good.
And my question was some of the failure, some of success, and how does it compare to what is the last 4 weeks been like in comparison to the first 4 weeks of fast?
I think that it's night and day, the comparison. And it's because, honestly, it's a different world. Like, even I wasn't prepared for it. Like, you know what? Starting an e-commerce company now, it's hard. There are so many stores. Like, you get lost. Even if you're like lucky enough to be on magazines that have all the press right now, it's still very hard. So you know what? That means you gotta make a company the old-fashioned way. And the old-fashioned way is when someone that takes a loan out, opens a storefront, and then has to win people over by dressing the windows storefront, getting offers in people's hands, and just being really freaking nice to our customers and having great stuff. It's like you can't compare. And this is why you're seeing a lot of e-commerce companies that were once valued a lot stumble and fall. Because commerce is not social, very different. So Facebook, winner takes all, only works if everyone's using it. It happens instantly. When you're asking people to give you their freaking money, is this for me? What is this?
Alcohol, beer.
I'm just gonna act drunk. I'm in a rock band, by the way. Yeah, swear to God. And we're performing in Milan. If anyone's gonna be in Milan on Wednesday night and perform, you're invited. Seriously, you have to be there. It's design week. You should be there shopping. Wait, what was the question?
All that success.
Oh, no.
Having $500,000 to spend in.
Yes. I'm not supposed to talk about it, but because we're in a Spanish-speaking country, and I hope anybody that tweets or writes about this is in Spanish, it doesn't kill me. But I can get in trouble. But we just ran too fast. Honestly, I think it's coming back to the point I'm trying to make, is that when you are a restaurateur or a shop owner, and you're dealing with customers, and they're coming in and they're spending their hard-earned money, especially right now, it's still a really crappy economy. People are struggling to get by. When you're asking people to give you their money, that has to happen over long periods. That level of trust. So you look at these billion-dollar companies that are not technology commerce companies. You look at, I don't know if you know them, like IKEA, Urban Outfitters. I'm just thinking of kind of aesthetically the kind that they fit into my head. I mean, these companies were founded in the 50s and 60s. They were not founded 10 years ago. The Gap did not become the Gap last year. It happened in the 60s. And so, when you're asking for this stuff, so the challenge, I think, is that you can't juice the numbers when it comes to commerce. Example, Etsy. Do you guys know Etsy? Yeah. Amazing company. It's lost its way, I think. It's going public. 10 years old. Maybe 10 years is the right amount of time for a company to go from being founded to seeing an exit in commerce. Maybe that's right. I mean, Zulily is a different case, you know, it was 5 years there, but like, I look at Etsy and I'm very inspired by it. And I say, they did it slow and steady, and they built their business by having amazing suppliers and also earning the trust of the consumer over a very long period of time.
Yeah, I imagine that as an entrepreneur, it's very tempting and frustrating not to go that fast.
No, because I want to write
Everything goes so fast.
I'm going to write at the design.com, we don't ship it here, sorry. Hold up, but it's funny, unapologetically gay. You have to have a little of that. That makes a good store.
Are you resisting?
I want to sell more things. We sell a lot. Don't get me wrong. 98% of all e-commerce startups, we probably sold more than that without showing a dime. However, I want to turn on the juice. I want to raise more money. But I have to keep stopping and saying, I'm building a different kind of business. And so, many companies, commerce, this is the story I'm going to tell when I raise money. It's not about top line revenue. It's not that we killed it our first 20 days. It's about, I have 50 plus margin. I have products that none of this is available on Amazon. I'm shipping half of 50% of all orders within 24 hours. I have an average order value of $100. People are buying 1.9 things every purchase. I've already started to see great repeat purchaser rates. That's the metrics I'm going to raise money on. And it means that I will probably have a lower valuation. But it means that I'm setting myself up to have a healthy business. And that is the big lesson. Because all these companies in Silicon Valley, it's like grow, grab an audience, figure out monetization later. It's great if you're Twitter, not great if you're a store. Twitter, you know, when you're a store, you're selling $100 billion worth of stuff. There's real cost attached to the goods of the product sold. If you're losing money every time you sell something. Yeah. Anyway, I answered the question.
Are all of the designers?
You gotta keep that. You gotta have this.
Are all of the designers
Dolphin.
from the US or do you have?
No, not at all. So actually, where is this person from? Harlem, but a different Harlem. He's from the original one. It's so funny. We're such an ignorant American. It's like you learn all these names of cities and towns and stuff. You're just like, oh, and then you just have this. Everything is named after somewhere else in America. Is it the same in Colombia? Yes. Okay, it's like, oh, that was Harlem? Really? But I forgot it was no,
They come to you.
well, they do come to me, but I also find a lot of them. So I'll tell you how I found all this stuff. I mean, that's a good. So Fab was really easy. Fab was not really easy. What I did for Fab was 3 months before we launched, we said one day we're not a game site, we're going to be a store. I went through every single thing in my house, that crazy house, and I put it in an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm old again. Now I'm 38 years old. I went to college. They did not have computers. Like they had computers, but no one had one themselves. Only really rich people. But there would be like a lab, and you'd go sit at this big computer, and then you type your paper and print it there, and then you tick it. So we didn't have computers, no laptops, none of that stuff. So we didn't have Excel. It didn't exist. I never learned it. Then I went to design college. Designers don't know Excel either, so buyers do. But so I never had to learn Excel. So why am I talking about Excel? Oh, so I put sorry. I'm getting drunk. So I basically inventoried my entire home, and then I went through every design magazine that you could possibly find and just wrote down everything I liked. And I came with a list of 2,000 people, and over about 2 weeks, I emailed every single one of them, over 2,000 emails. Different time, it was like, hey, I'm starting this company, please let us sell your products. They're like, We don't, a lessee cartel. They're like, we don't sell online. What are you talking about? So fast forward to the new company. Instead of putting things in Excel, I had pinned. So it's easier for me. I pinned about 2,200 brands over the last year. Since that beach on Rio, when I said I pinned them, so I started pinning. And I made mood boards for the 4 categories. Half of them were fat vendors, half of them were vegan eggs. That's where I started. And so I started emailing designers in December of this year. I had raised money in October. Closed the round in October. I raised $2.25 million.
Only American investors.
No, Polish, Japanese, probably everyone else is. No, French. So my strategy for raising money was, this was my strategy. I wanted to have a lot of people's names attached, but I didn't want anyone to give me too much money that they got on my nerves. So you have to, here's the game. You have to get one person to say, I'm going to lead and value your company. So I knew I had to have one person write a big check. So I got the most awesome investor in New York City to do that. A guy named Ken Larry founded the Huffington Post. He owns part of the Mets. He's in every amazing company from Bridgebox to Warby Parker to, they're the most active tech investor in New York City. And all these like Silicon Valley people, they're all like, sorry, who's a developer or engineer in here? Raise your hand. Sorry. Those people? Not for me. Just kidding. But that's Silicon Valley. All the tech. I'm this like crazy gay guy that walks in there wearing usually a purple suit, and they're just like they're all developers who like got rich selling. I don't know, Sun Microsystems and stuff like that. I don't know. And so there are these engineer guys, and they just keep on giving white engineer guys the money. It's just a cycle of like rich, old white nerdy guys giving young, rich white nerdy guys money. And so like it's a different scene in New York City. The venture world is very different. It's much more attuned to the industries in New York City, which is media and design and fashion. And so I walk into this guy's office, and so in San Francisco they're all like, you don't have a technical co-founder? I'm like, no, it's just a website. They're like, you don't have an engineer? I'm like, no, I don't. I'm going to go to Poland and build it if I have to, because I spent a lot of time in Poland last year and met a lot of entrepreneurs there. Like, that's the easy part. Like, that's not easy, but that's a commodity. You just have to pay the right price to get someone to do it for you. But what we're selling is not technology. We're selling curation, technology. If I opened a store and I said, you wouldn't say who's the architect. You'd say, what are you selling? So, I don't know.
We're going, how did you source all of your designers?
Oh yeah, then I started talking about fundraising. But yeah, so basically, if you're raising money, take a big check from one person, so you only have to talk to one person a lot, and take little checks from everyone else, so they leave you alone, but not when you need their help, they'll help you. And so that was my strategy. So back to these guys. So I know why we talked about it. So in October, raised the money. I had a non-compete with my former company. They were cool with me doing it, but just to make sure that there was no issue, we kept it quiet until January. January news came out that we were doing this, and this is where the cool thing happened. We put up this stupid splash page that just said, Bazaar is coming, curated design marketplace, some pictures of some products, like 20 friends of mine who said I could sell their stuff. And then it just said, sign up. And then at the bottom in really little letters, it said, if you are a designer, submit your product. It wasn't like we were pushing in front of you. 1,500 people filled it out in less than 3 weeks. It was crazy. Like I get 100 every 3 days. And I'm the person that's filtering it all. So just the supply is endless. Like the world is full of good stuff. I mean, I say a lot of it's crap too. Those poor people. You had a question?
Yeah.
Oh.
I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you. What is your name?
My name is Juan Pablo.
Juan Pablo? Okay, Juan. It's very distracting. The guy in front of you, his jacket is very distracting to me. I keep getting drawn to this. I want to look at you, but I'm looking at him.
Yeah, I was just wondering,
Wait, what's your spirit animal?
say, yo.
Oh, wise.
I was just thinking that you have tell us a lot about yourself as an influencer. And well, we often hear that it's always important to have a good team. And you just, well, you just told us a little bit about yours, but I was wondering, since you kind of crashed and to drive together, how you convince them to come back and believe in you, and also how much they are giving you in terms of their own spirit, you know?
Yeah. So the question, just so I'm being serious, having gone high and then crashed, how did I get my co-founders to join me, especially the ones who work with me and stuff?
Yeah, basically, how much Bazaar now in your shoulders?
Yeah, a lot. Most of it's on my shoulders. So like, so I'm not stingy with the word founder. I think the word founder is a very powerful thing. It implies ownership. It implies that you can push the company forward in different directions. It doesn't mean that everyone's a founder that is evil. So like, you know, I'm the founder of the company, but it doesn't mean that I'm so full of myself to think that I'm going to do it alone, or that my original idea, which may have been mine, won't be shaped during the early pre-launch and even post-launch. And so I wanted the people who were going to jump off the cliff with me to share that title, share equity definitely, but there's one person who's controlling the direction of this company, which is very different from the last time, where there were two and it was more of an equal co-founder thing. And you hear the horror stories of Jason and I, we got along famously. It was a very great partnership. And you hear horror stories about co-founders, and you know, people are people. You fall in love, you break up. So I've designed kind of how Bazaar is to where my co-founders are definitely, I mean, they're really running the company. That's why I'm here in Colombia. But still, there's like, no one's going to get in the way of the mission of what we're trying to do because Now, with that said, I'm also not stupid enough to think I can do everything myself. As I said, I'm definitely not a developer. I'm not an engineer. I can't think operationally. I can't even, like, I fail in Excel. We get everyone that applies for a job in Bazaar Excel test. I would fail at it. Like, we had a woman come in for a job interview the other day, and she went to Ivy League school, graduate degree at like the top Ivy League school, and she failed this freaking Excel test. So anyway, I thought it was funny. I'm the only person. We have 18-year-old interns that didn't fail the Excel test. This school did. But like my style is this, okay? With people, of the people who've worked with me before, I would say 90% of them will quickly make it. Of the designers who worked with me before, I would say 95% of them will work with me. Even if it didn't work out, so here's the thing. People don't remember if you were valued at $1 million. People don't remember even how many of your products they sold. People remember how you made them feel. That's the only thing they remember. So what is the opportunity? Make a connection with real people. Be present with real people. And the person who's too busy because they're running their company, focused on themselves, to not step out every once in a while and meet new people, even if it doesn't mean that you're going to do this, and a lot of people think this, I'll do this if I get something. I do things because I want to experience something. I think if that's your attitude, with how you approach people, and that you're present with people, they're always going to be on your side. Like, I really do believe that. That doesn't mean like, if you're an entrepreneur to not focus on your business and spend your time in stupid mixers for the technology community, because I wouldn't do those things either. But it does mean pick and choose, but do get out of your comfort zone and do things that are not directly related to your business or your success immediately, because you never know what it's going to be. And yeah, if you're good to people, they'll keep coming back. That's my mom. She taught me. Yes. Hi. What is your name?
Laura.
Claudia.
No, Laura.
Laura. Laura. Nice to meet you. I'm not only from America. I'm from a place called Baltimore. Does anyone know Baltimore? Good morning, Baltimore. It's a place where people have funny accents.
I was wondering.
You're down in Baltimore.
Are you a bear?
Ooh. Where I'm from, bears mean something. Bear means something different.
Yeah.
He's a fat, hairy, gay guy. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I don't think so.
I was wondering, when you work with that, and you could do information for designer. I mean, you look for designers to make collections or that or something?
No, typically we would go find people whose stuff we like already had a collection of products that we did not feel was oversaturated in the market or was something that people hadn't seen. Typically people that either sold on their own website, like their Shopify site, or had an Etsy store, or maybe were in a few little boutiques, or we saw them at a flea market, or on the street or something like that. But we didn't go about commissioning to do collections. I'm intrigued by that, but honestly, it's the same thing. Whether you're commissioning someone or whatever, you're still taking inventory risk if that happens, and that's what they help do. We are lucky enough with these art to there's two categories where it's really easy to get people to make you things without having to buy it. It's exclusive for you. One is art, but if it's graphic posters and prints, you know any great graphic designers, by the way, you think the work would be amazing art, I'm happily going to sell it on Bazaar. So let me know, like that's the easiest thing to do. I just get digital files, I print it, I manufacture it, I put it in a box, or I mail it out, I just kind of check the artist. It's really easy. Jewelry is also really easy because most of the jewelry we sell is made to order already. So if I get someone to just make 10 variations on maybe something we do in different colors with a different material, they only have to make one, photograph it, and then we just place orders for it, so it's a little easier. When you get to furniture and things like handbags and stuff, minimum, there's a lot of requirements and production work that's required. So jewelry and art's a really easy category to get people to make you exclusive things without buying anything from them. It's awesome.
Yeah. And have you looked in Latin American designer?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I never answered your question about designers. We look for designers everywhere. And if you look at our site now, we launch 4 designer collections every single day, and we show a lot of them are from Brooklyn, but they happen to be from all over the world. Just last week we had Polish brands, we've had Japanese brands, we've had Latin American, we have Canadian brands, a lot of European brands, obviously, because it's design, and there's cultures in Europe that they're in their DNA. But also a lot of the European and Asian brands have figured out ways to distribution. So what I can't do is import things. So what we do is we work with brands who have figured out some way to get their products into the United States. So it doesn't mean they have to be American brands or American brands. They're actually better if they're not. I was in Santiago for Christmas, and I was going around to all these different designer showrooms, and then met with the people who have kind of the found clone there, because they wanted to meet me. It was really nice, and they showed me a million different designers, and I was telling David the other day, like I had buying all these things, and I was like, I love this. And it was like, everything I liked was Colombian. It was really weird. It was like, I brought like all these like vessels, kind of, and woven things, and they're all from Colombia. I would love to talk Colombian design. I would love to talk Latin American design. The issue is a lot of people who make things in this country have to figure out what they did. And so lead time is important. Like, if you're selling a basket for $35, you can't take 6 weeks to cut it. Yes.
Hi, I'm Lina. I'm a journalist.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
What is your animal?
I don't know.
How often do you say spirit animal in Espanol? It's a common thing. Do you have a name? No, so you would say spirit.
I don't know. Probably a hummingbird. Well,
You're drawn to sweet things.
yeah. Well, I know for saying that you kind of filter all your design. How do you know what's going to work and what's not?
You know,
You feel it, or
yeah, you feel it. This is the artistry. This is where like the people in Silicon Valley don't know what to make. Like, what do you mean? And like this is the art form. Right? And this is where you have to trust your instincts and your gut. And it's like I've said it before. It's like falling in love. You either know or you don't. And it means that you can actually find something even in a setting that is not good, and imagine it living in a different world and being something different. And that's really what we strike home. I didn't think it was Etsy. But like Etsy is ugly website. People pictures are usually really crappy pictures, but you see something beautiful about this thing and you're imagining it. If it was cleaned up and presented in a different way, and the copy was different, and the image was a little different, this thing would be spectacular. And so it is about your gut, but it goes back to the inventory question. If you're a buyer for a store, your job is dependent upon selling things, selling through things, selling things at the right margins, and it's part art, but it's also part math, because you have to make sure that you're selling the store the right things, the right price point, the right path. And that means sometimes being a little safer than probably not. Like going with something that's on a sell. Whereas when you don't have an inventory, you can say, I'm going to sell some crazy shit. Like, I don't know, we might have, I don't know if we have anything crazy on the session today, but like, let's see if there's anything really weird. I remember the day that we're pretty safe today. The days at that though, no, yeah, there's girls that this is unsafe. So no one in my, everyone, so they're out of, you know, Andy Warhol, Nick Roberts, all these kind of like provocative artists that are inspirational all the time, and you know, that's not for everybody. But it's not safe, and so you have to say, and so everyone that works for me, I swear to God, every single person in Bradford here, not putting this secretary, yes, because it sets the tone, and you know, I remember this one product we had at Cab that was so crazy. It was these mirrored bodies, so like a mannequin. Brian said it's very tacky, it sounds very tacky, but imagine how $3,000. So let's see. Oh, here they are. You see this? That's $3,000. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. Like no retailer in their right mind is gonna buy this and put it in their store. Sorry, you get the picture. And I was like, well, they make me laugh. We're gonna sell them. And some guy with a Thai restaurant in New York bought like 8 of them.
From Bizarre.
No, from that. But I was like, I'll tell you what, you know, it's a hard thing to ship that thing. It's seriously like this big, and it's like, it's ceramic, I think, and it's yeah. It comes in a coffin. Did I answer the question? So it's like falling in love. It's like, you know, you saw my house. My house had like icons of modern design, and it had like a $5 pillow I bought with you. It's a mix. It has IKEA, and it has, you know, expensive art. It has a $10 poster frame right next to it. It's about the mix. And so it's not about like, it's about, do I love it? Like, if you can say, do I love it? I can say I love that guy, that picture, that, you know, I think it's freaking funny. It reminds me of Gary Dios, who were a very influential artist from the 80s that I grew up, like, that did tons of album covers, did portraiture of John Paul Gaultier. That's what it reminds me of. Not everyone's going to have those references, but they might just know it's like a unicorn. Anybody else?
I have another question.
Oh, good. The journalists better have another question. Come on, that's your job.
Do you think that the huge companies or brands, they must in relationship to create customers, or do you think that no?
Here's a shift I've seen. So I was talking earlier about how, like, I think it's harder to launch an e-commerce company become a takeover, right? Because there's so much competition already. So if you're considering launching an e-commerce company, like buckle down and get ready to do it over many years. 5 years ago, though, big brands didn't want to come near technology. Cheapens my brand, we're not proven, we only partner have proven success. Here's a big shift that's happened over the last 5 years. Big brands desperately want this to be customer. And one of the ways that they're doing this now is by partnering with startups in technology. And so like I had a really cool, I really didn't talk about it, but we can just speak about it. It's right down in Spanish. But there's this, you might not know it, but it's called Lost. It's an iconic Italian wedding brand. You'll know the Arco there, that's what Steve Leone is famous. But they, you know, before we even launched, they came to me and they're like, we want to do something cool with you. And I was like, okay. And so we're taking some of their lamps, and they're paying for all of the production and everything, but they're doing them in candy colors that are aesthetic. So they want to speak to a younger audience. They want to speak to a technology-focused audience. And so I think that, like, you know, like I have conversations right now with Nike. It's very early, but like big brands they know that startups are cool now. 5 years ago they were getting there, but now it's like a cool thing to do. It's like whatever, you know, everyone that went to get an MBA before would be like, I'm gonna be a banker. That was another story. So it's like this is the new thing, and so like there's a big opportunity to, even if you haven't even launched, to get support and or funding even from more established companies that want to reach a different target market. Yes, sir.
Do most of your microphone?
Hi, Mom. I didn't even notice you were there. It's so funny. You're very quiet. Good at your job.
During Fab and SAR, do you think that's so hard? What pushes the most sales is when you communicate discounts to your
Good question. Good question. When we launched Fab, you had to discount to get on the platform. Yeah. Very quickly, I realized that people were coming because of discovery and seeing things they hadn't seen before, and that's a more powerful thing than discount, because that will be a more loyal customer. If they're looking for you to satisfy something else, they're going to get cheap. The czar, not Ross. You didn't hear that from me. You really didn't hear it from me. So see this right here? Top print 25% off with free shipping. This is a test. Because this is a test. Remember I said the art category for us was one of
easiest and the best.
Yeah, and it's great margin. And so I think it's fair price to price it. So this is a woman I met in Poland last year. She's a fashion illustrator in Poland. I love her work. There's no discount here. I think for a paper print from this Polish woman that you can't buy anywhere else, $29 is a fair price. $99 for a frame is a fair price. That includes shipping. I think it's a fair price, not discounting it, not pretending it. So that guy, the guy from Harlem, that guy, he was on our first day of sale at the same price as her. And it was a huge success. Like it was one of the most popular things we sold. People love it. And I think it's a nice, refreshing take on it. This one was showing discounting. Because this is the price here. This is what I think is the fair price. It's also the best price online in the United States for a print of this quality of this size. This is what society sits for something. Another I'm testing to see if the discount matters. So this is almost a month. It is a month later today. So I'm bringing it back. It's tricky because I don't want you have to balance it. But if you're a new company, people haven't bought with you before, you kind of have to give them a reason to buy sometimes. And everyone puts things on sale.
So usually you communicate like discounts, but then you make them on you.
No, so we have purposely not communicated discounts at all. It doesn't say anywhere that things will be discounted. And probably half the things on sale at full price, half the things are discounted. I'm testing, but I'm very nervous about putting the discount front and center unless a few times a year. Because I don't want to train people. I don't want to train people. And that again means lower revenue. But it means higher margin. It means higher margin. It also means that, you're not just another one of these discount sites. There's too many of these. So, but you have to discount too. So it's kind of like, you have to do it, but don't make it your focus. Don't make it be the value proposition for your customer. It's not, you're coming here because you have cool stuff. You're not coming here to do cheap stuff. You like cool stuff? Sometimes I'm sensitive.
Where
they from? What brand? Sony. Oh, that's good.
Have you given any thought to how you transcend your vision? How, it's very early on, but how Bazaar, goes on beyond Bradford?
Yeah. So it can't right now, and I think that's okay. That's a nice strength for me, confidence, and I think that any great company that's one that's based on design or a point of view has to have a visionary founder. It doesn't mean that you can't be Karl Lagerfeld, pick up and run with it and be better than the previous founder was. That's great. But I think in the early stage where you're setting the tone and building a culture, it is important to have one person with complete creative control of it. With that said, there's a challenging thing that I'm about to face because this is the first iteration of Bazaar. So Bazaar, I know that it's in the launch side, which is to kiss, but that's not what it means. Bazaar is the English phonetic pronunciation, phonetic pronunciation of the word Bazaar, which means weird, and then Bazaar, which is a Persian word, which is the market. And so the idea for me is, right now we have this great little store where every day 4 new designers come up with 4 little collections that they come and go. But the big dream is to have a more regular assortment of products, a marketplace, which means I would have 500 or 600 designers collections at all times on the site. So imagine a little baby Etsy, but with someone who's saying, that's good. Invite only Etsy for graphic industrial designers and jewelry designers. filtered through my aesthetic, colorful, bold, pop, bright, graphic. I'm going to give up control then, because you'll go from having 400 products on the site every day to having 4,000 products, and empowering the designers themselves to upload imagery. And so we have to build the checks and balances there and make sure it's acceptable and all of that. But I'm nervous about that because that will be the first time where I'll be removed from every little thing. But it's what I want to do next with this. Yeah, I like to ask questions like that a lot.
So here in Bazaar, there's no fashion.
No fashion.
You said before, this wasn't a good traffic light. So
I
I
don't
want to
think.
know about what. Like,
Well, okay, I'll tell you why. And I'm a fashion person. I went to fashion design college. I spent, you can't tell today, but I spent all my money on clothing, like all of it. I'm obsessed. I just bought some Colombian fashion. You should see these shorts I bought. They're gorgeous. They look like it. They're kind of like a jacket. They're flowers, very bright, loud. Here's all the issues wrong with fashion. Sizing. If you're selling it online and someone gets it, it doesn't fit, you're screwed, they're returning it, they're sending it back, you're going to have to ship it back to them. Sucks. Sizing sucks. We don't sell anything that comes in sizes because I don't want it to be returned. So that's number one. Number two, seasonal. It comes and goes. It's not evergreen. I'm doing the work to produce it. This poster I can sell forever. I've done the work to build it. It's now on the site. We built it. We have it in our category management system. It's a click of a button, turn it back on and turn it off. Where fashion comes and goes. What you buy today, you can't sell a year from now, you can't sell 2 years from now. So that sucks. 3, fierce competition. Like, fierce competition. You can't beat Zara on the low end, you can't beat Prada on the high end, good luck. Like, sorry, like, why would you, I can't wrap my head around it. And so this is where I am thinking like an entrepreneur. I love clothing. I also hate fashion. Not you, but you know, like, it's like the game that you have to play with those people they're assholes. And so, like, designers, graphic designers, architects, industrial designers, interior designers, jewelry designers, for me, they just tend to be easier people to deal with. And there's also not a lot of good opportunities. There's not a lot of good options either on the high or low end, I think, in those categories. Whereas in fashion, it's really hard because it's like, and fit is so important. Like, I know this is Prada. I know I'm a 46 sweater. It always fits. You know what? These are Levi's. I don't know. I know these jeans always fit me. You know what? These are Nike Frees, 9.5. You know, I have 100 pairs of Nikes, 9.5. You don't take a risk when you find something that works for you, that fits you. Fit is so important. So I don't want to go near fashion. It doesn't mean that you can't be in you can't have an amazing fashion startup. It's just not. It's just not. I don't see an opportunity there. I see a huge opportunity in the home space. Because in the home space, you have really, really expensive and IKEA and nothing else. Like fashion, you walk up any store, there's a dozen. There's too many. Like, think of where do you buy furniture? If you're a 25-year-old person, where do you buy furniture? IKEA. Or you don't. Or you don't. But IKEA is it. Like, there is no other place to buy it. I would like to take some of their $38 billion and sample to buy it. Anyone else? Oh my goodness. Oh, there you go. I got a new person. Jamestown Settlement shirt. That's real nice. Where'd you have to pick that one up? Are you Have you been to Virginia? You have been to Virginia? Why? Okay. Is that where you got that start? And now it's yours? Shut up, really? That's awesome.
I was still a project guy,
I'm just kidding. I'm an entrepreneur into fintech.
Okay.
And
What's your spirit animal?
my spirit animal is a fox.
Yeah, okay. I can see that.
I was going to show myself a dolphin, but
You're too furry. The dolphins have no hair. They're fox.
I was just wondering, you have to show your experience outside of your company, like how you sell, whom you sell, but not inside, maybe how to work with you, how we match your people, entrepreneurs, like this. Every day with your co-founder and with your people inside, it's like a hard thing to do. Any tips or any things not to do to cover that?
So I'm learning every day is what I would say first. So one of the things I think is you're going to be a leader, whether you're the CEO or a founder or whatever it is, if you're managing people, I think the first thing you have to make peace with is you don't know everything, and that you have to learn, you have to grow, you have to be on the search to be a better leader, manager, whatever. That said, I have a style I subscribe to, and it's really easy. I don't hire people that need management. So that means that everyone that works in my company has to be an entrepreneur, because they're going to have someone that's going to talk to them all the time. They're going to have someone that's full of positive reinforcement. They're going to have someone that is going to be inspirational and not set up, like everything's approachable. It's a very flat organization, but what I'm not going to do, because I don't have time to do it, is teach you how to do your job. You have to figure it out yourself. And so some people flourish. So I'm not a micromanager. I'm the opposite. I basically say, do it. If they do it, great. If they don't work there anymore. It's really simple. And so, and again, it's not for everyone. And it's funny because you have people that come into a situation like that. Like I have one woman that works for me right now who's amazing. You know what her only other job was? She's 4 years out of college. You know what she's done? She was Mickey Mouse on a cruise ship. I'm not kidding. And in her interview, I made her do the whole dance, and she's like, this inside. And I'm like, you spunk, So like, I think that, some jobs, it's like you have to have a little more technical skills, and but she's a liar, so it's just like she has this spunk, and like she'll connect with people, it'll be easy. But don't micromanage is I think and this goes to the question about when people will come back and work for you. People will come back and work for people who let them do their job rather than tell them what to do. And that's this people are talking about millennials. I just went to this cool retreat. I typically don't go to retreats, but one of my investors is a company called Maverick. They incubated Zulily. They were early investors of eBay. It's founded by the chairman and CEO of Starbucks. Only consumer-facing internet companies they invest in. Really cool company. They had this 2-day summit where we got 30 of us were there. We got to sit down with the Whole Foods CEO. It was awesome. They had the woman who was the chief people officer of Netflix for 12 years speak. And she came in, and one of the first women that raised their hand, CEO of another company, I'm not going to say who it was, said, these millennials, these 20-somethings, they're lazy. They don't work hard. They question everything. They think they can be the manager. And she's like, well, first of all, stop calling them millennials. They're just young people. And you were just like that. You just didn't have the internet. And you didn't have Facebook. You didn't have Instagram to tell the world how smart you were and great. You still felt that way. And she said something really powerful to me, and it kind of tapped into kind of my leadership style and my mentorship style, which is like she said, I'm paraphrasing, I'm trying to find the right word. Hard work is rewarded, is kind of what she said. So success is not the rewarding part. That can be, but like going to work and feeling like I rolled my sleeves up with people I like, and we tried to solve a problem, and it was hard freaking work, but like I felt like I got to use my brain, and I felt like people actually appreciated my contribution to that. That's what young people want. Nothing else. Like money is even, this, I don't know how many of you are in your 20s, but apparently money's not even the motivating factor anymore. It's like people are willing to live with 5 roommates in Queens now to take a job where they feel like they're going to work solving the problem and saving the world. And like, tap into that. Because that's lifers. When people feel like you're changing the world or you're on a mission to do something good in the world, it's easy. And you only get them to do that is if you let them actually do it. Not tell them what you want them to do. Let them figure it out.
Okay. Now that takes me to ask you, how's your hiring process?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's a hybrid of what it was at Fab. So the Fab process was pretty interesting. The 2 founders interviewed. I interviewed the first. We had, when I left, 750 employees. I interviewed the first 300 people. I don't care what the job was. The guy who took all our trash, I interviewed. The lowest customer service rep up to the CFO, I interviewed everybody. Probably, I still believe that's a good use of time. But our process right now is we have five founders. One is a creative director, one is a head of communications. There's 3 people kind of driving the kind of the business and operational side of the business. Those 3 people have to be aligned. And we're kind of like, we kind of each play a different role. So I'm the visionary, I'm the creative. That's why the creative director doesn't have to do it. I'm checking the culture box, the taste box, that. On this side, I have former investment banker, CFO, numbers guy, like extremely analytical. He's the guy that you will do an Excel test in your first interview with him. Doesn't matter what role you're interviewing for. And then in the middle is the COO, who worked for me before, who comes from a furniture family, who has a law degree, and kind of is the bridge between the 2 of us because we think very differently. And so, but really, what I care about in an interview. So make sure that more than one person interviews them. But ultimately, defer to the person who's going to directly manage them, unless there's some big red flag. Because again, it's part of empowering your people. If you tell someone you're a manager and you have 2 openings on your team, and then you don't let them hire the people that they want on their team, then when they fail, they're going to say, screw you, because I hired people that I didn't want to hire. And I think that's like the first time you have to trust people until they don't earn your trust anymore. But for me, it's real simple because I'm like the culture guy. If you're creative, like I interview the designers, like graphic artists or buyers. Like if it's a buyer, I say, you know, find me 20 brands, make a pin board in 24 hours with 20 brands that I've never seen before. That's how they have to prove it to me. They have the eye, and they know where to find stuff. If it's a graphic designer, show me what you've done. Either like it or I don't. Easy. If we're talking to a business analyst, I don't know what to talk to them about. So you know what I think? Would I want to sit and have dinner and drink a bottle of wine and talk to this person? If I can, that's the bottle of wine rule. If you're interviewing someone that you can't imagine sharing a bottle of wine with, get them out of your freaking sights. Get them out of your Because I don't think you should confuse. You can't confuse a startup or a company with a family, because it's not a family. So you have to realize that it's like it may feel like a family. You may roll your sleeves up. It's not a family. People are choosing to be there. You can't choose your family. So there is a different dynamic there, but it's also like it's kind of a family. And so for me, like the check is this an interesting person? The wine, that's all, you know, drunk. You know, it's like, you know what's awful? Having a bottle of wine, having dinner or a bottle of wine with someone who just you can't connect with. Yeah, no, you don't. You imagine it. You imagine it. You imagine. You don't actually have it. Although yes, I have consumed over 300 bottles of wine, probably this year. I'm surprised there's no wine, no Colombian wine, right? There is what? It's not good. As I already said, not good. Why is Argentina? Why is Chile? You know, why is their wine good? And why have I not heard about Colombian wine? I had that Saturday night. That stuff's crazy. That stuff's crazy. Good enough. Any other questions? I hope. Yes. To the man in the Sony headphones.
Sorry for my English.
Sorry for
I want to know if you, I know it can be additional for the situation, but I want to know if you should say something to someone who sorry, what would that be?
If you never make any money from what you're doing, you'll still be happy. Like, and if you're not, if your goal is the goal of your startup or just starting an office to make money, do something else. If you're not going to be successful, and even if you are, it's going to be believed. So, like, I think that an entrepreneur has to be somebody that's motivated from a deeper place than just their pocket. And again, that's like, you have to figure out whatever that is for you. For me, it's about this stuff. For other people, it may be about technology, healthcare, solving hunger, I don't know. But like, it has to be more than just, because it's good, it's lonely, and it's hard, and if you fail, at least you can fail going down belief. I think that's good. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's got to be something deeper than just an opportunity to make money. It's got to mean something to you. Unless making money is going to mean something. Then you should just be a banker. Hi.
Hello. Some question.
Okay.
And I'm going to make this question in Spanish. Es importante la comunicación para nosotros. Los comunicadores trabajamos en
Now, something about we. Oh, look at this.
Trabajo con emprendedores, con empresas, ayudando con temas de comunicación. Sabemos que la comunicación es importante y dentro del equipo de trabajo tienes a una persona que es de base, educadora, ¿verdad? ¿Qué valor le das a ese proceso antes en la startup empezar a trabajar y cuál sería el consejo que podríamos darle a una startup que no tiene dinero para pagar un comunicador o una estrategia de comunicación y la necesita porque tiene que empezar a hacer?
And when, just so I'm clear, when he says communication, does he mean press? Yeah. Oh, right, that's fine. Okay. So, okay, put on your ear thing now. Okay, you're going to listen to my. Oh, are you hearing it now? Yeah. Okay. Why is yours different? Oh, it's a box. It's a good question. So yes, one of my co-founders is the founder of a PR firm. He's great. He's a facilitator. The communications, the message comes from him. So the first thing is that the entrepreneur, all the questions are connected. You cannot go and speak passionately about something to an investor or to a journalist without actually believing it. Because people see bullshit. Like they'll call you a month. And so press is important, but this is what happens with technology startups. You raise some money, you create a product, and then you're like, oh, we have to get press. It's too late, because you know what, you have to think about that over here. You have to think about the press placement, you have to think about what is good, why am I doing this, and how can I communicate that to my employees, to the investors, to the press, and not everything has to be scripted. Not everything has to be perfect. What's more important, I think, with journalists, from my personal experience, same thing I said about people earlier. Were you present with them? Did you look them in the eye? Did you actually care about their questions? Did you listen rather than stick on script? Do you see that there are intelligent people doing their job, and they're not out to hurt you, they're not to get you, they're not pawns? If you have something intelligent, smart, inspiring, funny to say, the press will respond to that. Because journalists are smart, good people. And so it's like, I think it's more about like it's not just press. It's someone has to be the inspiration, and there are many forms of being that inspiration. You can be a soft-spoken leader who says very little, but what they say is powerful. Your teams, your vendors, customers, and the press will respond to that. You can be